Good day, guys. Welcome to Crypto MC. This is Trade for a Living, not for the living. Trade for a Living podcast. My name is Rita. We're going to be looking at what Bitcoin just did. It just pushed into a new all-time high. Ethereum is about to make an all-time high. And the question that I'm asking myself is, when is it safe to start offloading my long-term Bitcoin bags? You know, the bags I've been accumulating since way down, not even the 70,000s, the 30,000s and the 20,000s, all those buys. When can I turn all those bags into altcoins to ride what is going to look like another alt season? It's a fair question. In addition to this, we're going to be looking at Ethereum, we'll be looking at Solana and all the regular candidates, because as we know, with alt season, first Bitcoin goes, then it loses momentum. Ethereum goes, and there's talks about the flippening. There's already people saying ETH is going to have a bigger market cap than Bitcoin, you know, so that is happening. So much as it's different this time, it's starting to sound exactly the same. Okay, and then we're going to have our Bitcoin, the mid caps start moving and the big caps, and then obviously alt season, which means all the bullshit coins run as well. So in anticipation of all of that, let's get into BTC. If you're new to the channel, say hi. I would love to meet you. If you're regular to the channel, say hi in any case, just rude not to. And for everybody else, let me know what you're hodling. Maybe we can have a look at the one or two requests at the end of the stream. Hello, Stanku. Hello, Ashton. Hello, Yuto and Mr. Peter Woods. Good day to you guys. About 50 people joining in live right now. Please do solid, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and then let's get into this. Okay, so at the beginning of the week, I shared this chart with you guys, and I showed to you guys that statistically, when we look at charts, so let's just remove my face there real quick. Thanks, buddy. When we look at the CME gap, statistically, they do get filled. 50% of them gets filled on the first trading day of the week. Now, because it's a US, it's the Chicago Mercantile or something like that, it's exchange. Because it's US based, it typically happens on the US time frame, which is for me around 4 p.m. my time zone. And we also looked at that statistically. If it doesn't happen on the Monday, 30% of it does happen then, of the remainder does happen within the next week. So it's a very small chance that when there's a CME gap and it doesn't get filled within the first week, that it's going to do that soon. It's probably going to run a little bit and get to it longer. So it makes for high probability setups. So when we look at the charts again, what it does is it means that if we plan our buys around Monday lows, look, all of this, if you look at the date there, Monday, if we try and plan our buys around Monday lows, when there is a CME gap, it most of the time gives us good entries. Okay, so the CME played out nicely. So you were warned, you were armed, you had everything to do, and I hope you guys have made some really good gains. Let me know who's capitalized on this information. Now, going on and taking this a little bit further, I also said to you guys that we had the point and figure. This was just one straight line when we were doing the stream on Monday, and I pointed out that the point and figure does give us really good destinations for where buys and sells typically occur. And we tested that area and moved up nicely. So the big question that I have for myself is this the beginning of a prolonged reversal? Because I want to see one, because I want to start moving my Bitcoin into some other alts. And if that's the case, is this the beginning of the gap where I then need to start laddering out to get into my altcoin bags, to go to stable, to go back to altcoins? Okay, so it's a fair question. I want to try and answer that question for you guys today. Back it up with some TA. Now, why do I say Bitcoin get out if we look at this thing from a larger time frame and there's still 2 months, 3 months worth of bull market left before the next reversal? It's because when we reach a top, Bitcoin starts losing momentum. So if you think about it, if you stayed in Bitcoin near to the end of an alt season or a bull market, near to the end, the amount of extra gains that's there is very little. I mean, Bitcoin there went from 58 to 68, so it's about $10,000. It's still not something to discredit or or yeah, but in the end of the day, it is definitely not life-changing money. And in that time frame when Bitcoin lost this momentum, you saw that a lot of alts gained a lot of traction. And herein lies the thing where I'm at right now. Okay, so if we look at the market from a pure emotional point of view, what I'm going to do is I just want to load this, the emotional market cycle. There we go. What happens is, if you look at this chart, it seems that it's very easy for anybody to kind of identify the top of the bull market, which means get out and we're done. We're going to make money. That's what we all do when armed with this information while in a bull market planning for the top. Okay, I just gave you guys a date even. I mean, great. So I don't need to worry about this. We just need to wait until we hit this date in October and then sell. Okay. But the problem is, while this happens, where's that thing now? While this happens, when we move into this complacency area, what the market does is it tricks us. Bitcoin might slow down, but if you look at the Ethereum chart, there's no slowing down. I mean, this is just a straight line almost. And then when Ethereum starts slowing down, you'll probably find that your Solana turns into a straight line. I mean, we were here yesterday, sitting right there, went from 190 to 200. Okay, Cardano's at $1. Look at how this thing left. We were here yesterday. Okay, now I wasn't here yesterday, but I mean, you get where we're at. We were seeing at 80, it's up 20%. So what the market tends to do, it tends to trap you into this complacency, and because of the following thing. As Bitcoin starts slowing down, it doesn't turn on a dime. It takes its time. So it sits in the sell zone and starts grinding sideways perhaps. And then you've got Ethereum just pushing a new all-time high. It's almost there. It just needs a little bit more. Then we've got a new all-time high. Then you're going to see Solana starts pushing into 250 all-time highs, those kind of things. And because if you look at all the other alts, they're extremely bullish and they're still pushing all-time highs. It creates a false sense of security so that when the market do turn on you, and everything starts dumping, you weren't thinking about selling, because while that complacency was playing out, there was something consistently making headlines pushing all-time highs. So to arm ourselves against that, it's very hard to do this. We need to take profit as these specific coins start moving into sell zones. Okay, so I took profit on my BTC long, put my money where my mouth is. Okay, I closed half of this position this morning. There is the position. Sold 5. That's a hell of a lot of commission. But in the end of the day, that's it. Done deal, banked some money. I'm not saying give up, because obviously there is the potential that there's more and there's another wave, and we can unpack that. And I still have more skin in the game. But in the end, to try and prepare for what could be a reversal, you need to start taking profit aggressively. Simple as that. So think about Ethereum real quick. Let's take away the RSI. Let's look at Ethereum. Ethereum now, for me, has completed a 5-wave structure on the smaller time frame. 1, 2, 3, a 4, and a 5. What is the big telling signal? Well, that's the case. Your 1, 4 is not allowed to go below 1. Check, it's done that. Okay. The RSI at the bottom of a 4 will always be lower than the bottom of a 2. Okay, let's bring in the RSI. It's there. Check. Why is that? Simple. It's hidden bullish divergence. Price does not make a lower low, but the RSI does. So it's a powerful little bit of information there, my friends. Okay. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Okay. So if that is the case, we can count that there is statistically 5 now, with the question that there might still be a little bit of move left for Ethereum to try and get that all-time highs. Then all of this, now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with this being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 within that 5th wave, tells us that we're basically trying to now finalize this first of what is, for the next 2 to 3 months, a 5-wave Elliott wave structure, which statistically points to about a $10,000 Ethereum. How do I get there? Simple. If this is the top, nearest makes no difference, a few $100. Statistically, your trend extension fib says if that is the top, and that is statistically where the retrace would be, your 3 would be around your 1618 level. So we can go to about there. Okay. Then, if that is the case, move this on for Ethereum. Move that to your 3, move that to your 4. Realistically, if we then look at this entire move, I mean, you would, from a fib point of view, go somewhere in the 50% range. Okay. That then means your 5 then goes to 618 statistically. Now, you can go parabolic, and then you'll see the 2618 and the 3618 and the 4618 gets hit. But this is when you're in a parabolic move. What do I mean by a parabolic move? Simple. When you have something that looks like this. That could be the 2, the 3, and the 4618. This is outlier events. I don't want to plan for that. When we're in there, we know we have the tools to stay in the move, but I don't want to buy something and then sell euphoria to myself, because if we then go halfway to that area, you would immediately say to yourself, it's not there yet, I'm not selling, because you then set that precedent that that is what is expected. Okay, so I don't want to go too crazy, and I don't want to try and, sell something ridiculous just yet. Okay, so let's move this back to conservative levels and say that maybe we get a truncated 5th, which means the 5 doesn't go above the 3. Okay, that happens. That happens. Okay, so that's where we're at. So for Ethereum at this stage, support then lives as follows. Let's scale this to the daily time frame. And remember this, guys. You can clearly see that on the daily. What do we have? We've got strong bearish divergence now. Okay, so we've got Bitcoin losing momentum, sitting in a sell zone, and we've got Ethereum with strong bearish momentum or strong bearish divergence. Do we sell everything? Hells no, because what's going to happen is we'll probably stay and consolidate above the pivot support. And it's only once we fall below 3,800, we need to question whether we need to be bullish. Up until this is all buy the dip territory. Any of these levels are buy the dip territory. And that's why I've got the correction wave, the ABC. Say this is the 5th wave. Now we're going to correct the ABC drawn in between these levels. I don't want to see this move below that, because then we have now seen the divergence being too strong. We also know that statistically, and I'm going to show you this maybe using Bitcoin on the weekly time frame. You can go and have a look at this. This is very simple stuff. This is Ethereum. Sorry, I just opened Bitcoin. When you have 1, 2, 3, go. There we go. When you have massive divergence like this, and you put on the divergence predictor fib that I have, okay, strong bearish divergence prediction. If things go above the upper band of that prediction, typically there's more. It's when we have divergence and things don't go above the upper end. That is when we worry, because we fail to make a considerable higher high, fall below the pivot. That's it. Now, this was the previous bull market top, okay? So the same then applies to Bitcoin here. Here we had strong bearish divergence. Did I tell you guys to sell? No, I said to you guys, buy the dip. There's more going to come, because we have exactly the same thing. We've crossed the red line, or the upper ends of where divergence could still turn a reversal, reverse the trend, which means that the rules, if we apply them correctly, just says that we need to stay above that pivot, that thou shall not cross line. Okay, where we're at right now, we have exactly the same thing happening. So I'm going to put that at the top of the move, the bottom of the move, and this is the sell zone. And that's why for Bitcoin on the weekly, unless we go above 133 for me, this is a top. This is Bitcoin losing momentum. Doesn't mean it's Bitcoin retracing just yet. And that's why I do have still a couple of, well, in the red shorts, just in preparation for if that happens. So the same then applied to Ethereum says that if this is wave 3, we've crossed the red line, statistically, there is going to be more. Don't use this divergence as a reversal. Use this as a buy the dip scenario. So you can buy on these support areas because there's clearly strong support living at 3,800. Okay, so if that makes sense, you understand the scenario, then if we zoom into Ethereum on the smaller time frame, we remain bullish, okay? But there's clearly already divergence there as well. You can see that if I apply this then on the 4-hour, we've crossed the upper bound, so we expect more. So there's a potential that Ethereum could still give us one last push. Why do I want that? Well, simple. Let's take Ethereum to the weekly time frame. Because I want to see an all-time high. I need Ethereum to be celebrated just as much as Bitcoin in order for us to have an alt season. That's why in this entire move, I explained to you guys that no deep retraces. People need to chase the pump. When enough people start chasing it, then the retrace. Then the retrace will occur. That's Ethereum. So if Ethereum makes sense to you guys, you understand where we are in the situation, it doesn't mean that because I see complacency in the market, that it is abandon everything. Just because Bitcoin is a sell, it doesn't mean abandon everything. It means that now we can start looking at the next coin. And as they start firing off, the market and everybody will still sing, it's a bull market together. And we just need to understand that, yes, it's going to look like a bull market. It's going to sound like a bull market, but as each one of these altcoins is going to start firing off their top signals, at one stage, there will be harmony. They all would have hit all-time highs or their version of it in whichever structure they are now. And then there will be a retrace. And that's when I want to buy the dip for the next move. Now, because we're looking at 4-hour time frames, I'm not talking retrace now, and I'm talking 6 months kind of thing. I'm talking a bloody week, where everything is red and every KOL on Twitter is saying, just buy the dip, just buy the dip. And they get to be right. Because remember, in order for complacency to exist in the market, everybody has to be right occasionally so that they can be wrong consistently. That's the key here. And I'm not talking about KL saying that they're going to get stuff wrong or anything like that. I'm talking about the retailer, the guy that is still finding his feet, because they are the ones holding the top. We are not supposed to be the ones. Okay. So you're better than that. If you're watching the stream, you're better than that. Okay. So there we have it. That's Ethereum. That's Bitcoin. That's my whole, my whole preach for the day. Okay. Remember, complacency is your friend, but it's an enemy as well because it creates a false sense of a bull market. Okay. So Bitcoin is in a sell zone for me. 4-hour time frame, we've hit this area. So let's just mark this out. Where's my invalidation? I know there's a hell of a lot of lines here, but there's only one line that you guys really need to take note of. Okay. And it's there. 122. We've already fell below the pivot. We can give it the benefit and the doubt and say, okay, right, maybe that is as near as makes no difference, the same height. So let's say 118. Anything below this, then we'll see prolonged pain. So all of this up to 118 is buy the dip territory for Bitcoin. And it's fair to assume that there will be a retrace. If we zoom in on this move, saying that maybe this is a 1, 2, and now we're creating a 3, 4, which means there will still be a 5. Okay? It means exactly just that. We need, in order for there to be a 4, we need this RSI to be below this in order for us to start saying that there's going to be a next move. So the nature in which Bitcoin will retrace will define whether there's going to be hidden bearish divergence and then whether there's going to be one more leg to the upside. And that's the risk you need to take. You're going to now, from this point onwards, potentially going to have to give back some gains to find out whether this is the top. This could be whether this is the top and we're starting to reverse, or this is a 3-4. You get the idea. Okay. And the same then applies for Ethereum. So I've done enough markings and research and, basically broke my head on what I think is the most probable play. And this is what I'm sharing with you guys. The most probable play. It doesn't mean that I'm 100% guaranteed that I'm going to be right, but Ethereum could potentially start slowing down, create another strong bearish divergence, start reversing. And somewhere around these levels at 3.9 is where the dip's going to be. And that's when, and to answer the question, when am I going to move my Bitcoin bags into alts? That's when I'm going to move my BTC bags into Ethereum for what is then hopefully a nice ride to $10,000 within the next 2 months, which means I can inevitably maybe, I won't say triple my ETH bags, my Bitcoin bags, but at least double my BTC bags, because I don't see Bitcoin going 3x from where it's at now, $300,000 BTC, then it's going to steal all the alts funder. If that happens, if you think that that's happened, you don't want to do this. You don't want to convert this to Ethereum, because then your ETH is not going to outperform that kind of sensational gains. Simple as that. Okay. Let's see. Jazzy, thanks so much, my friend. Good morning, Renee. Good morning, Chris. I think I've already said, no, I was talking to Peter. Both have brown icons. That's why. Zenodiac, good morning to you. And Mr. Maximilian Dollars, good morning to you as well. Okay, guys, before we move into the alts, it's pretty simple. I share a lot of my deeper inner thoughts in the Discord and the charts and everything in there. And if you want to participate in the Discord as well as the live trading, what you need is a partner role. And you can get that by going to the navigation channel in the Discord and click on partner roles. Now, if you open your own Blofin account using my affiliate link, okay, I will give you access to the Discord so you can participate with me, okay, and I will give you access to the buddy indicator. Now, let's have a look at what the buddy indicator would have done for you for Ethereum. So the indicator is very simple. It gives you various strategies, and those strategies are aligned to specific divergences and trading setups. Okay, because we're in the breakout, strat 3 is the continuation of momentum strategy. So let's zoom into Ethereum, and I'm going to hit maybe, what time frame should I hit? Peter, give me a comment there. What time frame should I hit? So that it's not it looks like I'm pre-planning the best side of it. 3 hour, 1 hour, 15 minute. Now he's looking, just send a comment. What time frame? I know you're backstage. Let's see, 3 hour. Peter says 3 hour. Okay, so let's go 3 hour time frame. So if we look at the 3 hour time frame, the buddy indicator on the ETH move. This is now a little bit further behind. Let's have a look at where you are now. Your time frame is too big, Peter. It didn't trigger any entries. 15 minutes, says Zenodiac. Okay, so let's do a 15 minute. And bang that one in. Okay, so continuation with momentum. The entry is, this one is a missed entry because the retrace didn't hit the upper end of the entry zone. It's still a good entry if you want to turn it into a swing, but statistically, they always perform well if the test happens within those first 7 candles. So as this candle closed, these lines got printed and they stay there. Okay, this is how the indicator works. So it doesn't tell you what you should have done. I hate those indicators. Cross this line, maybe it doesn't cross the line. When it's there, when the candle closes, it's there, and then you have the setup. There it gave you that entry again. Enter between the purple lines, TP1, TP2, TP3. There it gave you that again. Enter between the purple lines, TP1, TP2, TP3. And there it gave it again. And this one, went to TP1 and then stopped the rest of the position out. So just by looking at this, momentum seems to be slowing. Okay. If we want to try and time the top, the strategy that you will be using is the strat 1. That's your top signals. Okay. Is it ready to time the top yet? No, because we don't have any real divergence on the time frames. It's a trade buddy. It's not a trade bot. You still have to do some thinking for yourself. But when you understand that you're trading in harmony with the trend, once you identify that, you just use the indicator in harmony with that trend to look for your entries. So yes, there it gave you strong bearish divergence. Enter between the purple lines, TP1, TP2, TP3. That one hit. There it gave it again, and it kept on smashing the stop. There it gave it again, kept on smashing the stop. Did go to TP, but that's the whole idea. So are we ready to try and time the top with this indicator? Hells no, because we're not there just yet. We need to wait for that. If we're range bound, you use strat 2. Very simple, guys. Okay. Say we're starting going into a range bound environment, which is kind of what we're doing at the moment. Okay. Enter TP1, the rest stopped out. Entry didn't fill, and entry didn't fill. Okay, so it's as simple as that. So now you use the various strategies. So if you understand it or you want to learn more about it, all you need to do is go to the community section in the Discord, and how to use tools will have all the information for you about the indicator. Simple as that. To get it, you just need to back the channel that backs your content. Okay, there you have it. All right, over to the rest of the altcoins. Let's go, guys. So I want to look at Solana on the 4-hour with you guys real quick. It's moving nice and strong. A lot of momentum. It's simple. Support lives at 194, and the argument is we want to try and get this to 260. So no reason to offload Solana just yet. We can argue that that's maybe a 1, and we're basically trying to get the 3, 4, and the 5. So we somewhere in that area. So there will be a shakeout somewhere. So lazy leverage buys will get tested. And typically, this is the area where people would want to try and get that lazy leverage buy. Somewhere in between, because now it clearly looks bullish. So the guys go and take the leverage long to try and ride it to 290. It almost gives you good enough TP, but you don't take profit, sweeps you out, makes a lower low on the RSI, and then goes. So until we do that, you don't leverage long on this thing. You can buy it spot. Okay, that's it. That's Solana. Same for Cardano now, right at this stage. It's moving nicely. I still have my leverage long Cardano. I bought it at 33 cents. Been holding it since whenever. Okay, so it's moving nicely. Wait until that RSI goes below the 2. Okay, this would probably be the 2. Okay, you need an RSI below that. Then you leverage long. If you want to buy spot, it's fine if you want to buy spot, but you need to understand that there were where this hidden bearish divergence was, okay? Typically, that's the area where we want to try and look for price to stay above support, because this was the last time that there was bears fighting you. So all of this is almost a result, a overreaction for the fact that support or that resistance area was lost from the bearish point of view. So at some stage, we will come back and try and turn that into support. Okay. When, I don't know. And as this market moves, if we go there, then this becomes realistically improbable. So until we have that, I don't know. Okay. But I do know that this is moving into a 5, so there will be a little bit of a correction, which is nice because then there's still 2 more months. We just need to do some hard work to make sure we get the 2, because there's 2 more months where there's going to be 3, 4, and 5. Because this is typically what happens with these things. It goes parabolic, traps a hell of a lot of people, and then dumps on their asses. Okay, so we want to be in, time to add risk, but we need to understand that that's it. And use this environment where we're at right now to see whether you would be well equipped enough to get out there. Because it's exactly the same environment as that. So if you don't feel like selling here, you're not going to feel like selling there. And if you don't have a strategy to sell and buy back here, you're just going to be wrecked at the end. You're going to give all the gains back, statistically speaking. Okay. Let's see what else. I see ADAR on everybody's radar. Yeah, ADAR will do well, guys. I think ADAR is going to do well. AVAX is on my radar at the moment. I mean, my buys is around $21 in AVAX, okay? So we're sitting at $25. I want to try and ride this to 35, and then I want to offload it, okay? BNB, guys, the chart's messy for me. It's too much. If I was in here, I would have said stay, hold your BNB, don't offload. But where it's at right now, I would just want to look for something better. Okay, it's the same with Link now. Link has now gone and created divergence, just like Ethereum and so forth. There's a simple thou shall not cross level that lives right there at $21. That's support. Okay, you're allowed to buy Link or be bullish all the way down to 21.90. Let's say 22. If it starts trading below that, that's bad. And it typically shouldn't do that. It should consolidate here. Okay. Because this is where everybody wants to now buy it. Market's not going to give them deep retraces now. We've got strong momentum. It should be shallow retraces. Okay. Deep retraces now is a reversal. It's not a buy the dip. Okay. So that is the important for me there. Uniswap sitting at around 11. Like I said, if you zoom this to the weekly time frame, there's a lot that's going to happen for Uni as well. So it's almost like ADA. My next big moonshot is NEWT. NEWT. I'm looking for that 32. In this area, guys, is a good buy. And then I want to see this thing go make a higher high. Okay. I've given you guys many examples in the past of case studies, how this happens. I'm going to give you guys another one now, and I'm going to use SUI as an example. Everybody loves SUI. Okay. So what did SUI do in the beginnings? Way back. Okay. Launched, dumped, went to the 50%. Okay. Tested the lows. This is where NEWT is at right now. And then gone and made a higher high. Okay. SUI did it. HBAR did it. A lot of them do it. Okay. This is the same playbook. Okay. ENA is flying. Let's just zoom the chart back in. ENA is flying. And as I explained to you guys, we are on our way to try and hit that 3. So my TP is around 90 cents. Look at that RSI. It's already trying to get below these levels. It's looking for hidden bullish divergence, guys. Why? Because it wants to continue on to finish this wave. So I'm holding for 90 cents. What I did do, though, is I sold AERO. Why? Because the buy was at 70 and I went to 140 and I'm out. Doubled my money. 2x it in 1 month and I'm out. Okay. Finish. Klaar met hom. You know, and the remainder, say if I had $1,000, it's turning to 2. I now have $1,000 left. And that $1,000 is now free because I still have my original investment to now go and plug it into NEWT again. Okay. And the argument behind this is now this one will turn into what is coin the banana coin. Cup and handle and run. And that's what that other $1,000 is there for that move. But there's many other coins that are still here. So I can plug this TP into those coins there and do the same. Okay. Complacency means each coin will have its moment to shine. Until all of them are shined, it looks bullish all the way up until one day where it doesn't, you know, and then everybody's, you know, regretting what they should have took profit on. Okay. We're not going to be those guys. Come from a point of strength, take profit in strength, not when you see weakness. Okay. Golden rule here, guys. Or else you're going to be left holding your bags, crying over them. Thanks so much, guys. That's everything we have for today, 33 minutes. Follow me on social media, on Twitter. I drop charts like Celestia and those kind of things in there. Cheers, Peter. Thanks for joining. And all those things. You can always ask for charts and stuff like that in the Discord. I do have lifetime membership access to my Discord as well. Go and check that out. It's going to be like this for maybe 2 more months. Then that's also off the table. Then I will relaunch subscription services. And this is over. So for those that are in now, you're golden. And for those that are not, you know, you're going to then have to deal with that. So take advantage of it. There's a few slots left, guys. I mean, that's a great bargain. So make use of that. Thanks so much for taking the time. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys. Get your Blofin accounts. Come trade with me. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Cheers, everybody.